The psalm continues. Come near, rescue me, set me free from my enemies. You know all my opponents. You see them, see the way they treat me, humiliating me with insults, trying to disgrace me. All this ridicule has broken my heart. It has killed my spirit. I searched for sympathy and I came up empty. I looked for supporters, but there was no one. Even more, they gave me poison for my food and offered me only sour vinegar to drink. Let them be ambushed at the dinner table, caught in a trap when they least expect it. Cloud their vision so they cannot see. Make their bodies shake, their knees knock in terror. Pour out your fiery wrath upon them. Make a clean sweep, engulf them with your flaming fury. May their camps be bleak, with not one left in any tent, because they have persecuted the one you have struck. Add insult to those whom you have wounded. Compound their sins. Don't let them off the hook. Keep them from entering into your mercy. Blot out their names from your book of life, so they will not be recorded alongside those who are upright before you. I'm living in pain. I'm suffering, so save me, true God, and keep me safe in troubled times. The name of the true God will be my song, an uplifting tune of praise and thanksgiving. My praise will please the Eternal One more than if I were to sacrifice an ox or the finest bull, horn, hooves, and all. Those who humbly serve will see and rejoice. All you seekers after God will revive your souls. The Eternal listens to the prayers of the poor and has regard for his people held in bondage. All God's creation, join together in his praise, all heaven, all earth, all seas, all creatures of the ocean deep. The true God will save Zion and rebuild the cities of Judah, so that his servants may own it and live there once again. Their children's and children's children shall have it as their inheritance, and those who love his name will live in it. This is the word of the Lord. You may be seated. Have you ever been in a place like the person who wrote this psalm, where you feel like the waters are rising and you're struggling to tread water and the waters just keep rising and it's getting muddy and you can't barely get your feet out and it just keeps rising and it just seems like you're going to get swallowed up by life. You just can't keep up and you're getting tired, you're getting worn, and it just seems like this must be the end. There's no way I'm going to keep up. This flood is just going to swallow me up. Have you ever felt that way in life? Has life ever caught up to you and you just felt like, God, where are you? I thought you were on my side, but right now it's hard to feel. That's the type of agony this person is going through, and it's really important to watch the movements of this prayer. They start from this place of just sadness and just needing to tell God exactly how they're feeling. So, you know, God, life right now is so hard, it's difficult for me to even catch my breath. That's where they start. They just start with this place of pure honesty, and then they start telling God about why. This is what's going on in my life. So I feel like I've given my life to you, God, and all I'm getting is ridicule. My family is ridiculing me. The people of my community are ridiculing me. And gosh, it's even become a party song to make fun of me. And I feel alone. And I feel, God, like you've left me. And I'm in this because of you, God. Because I love you, God, I'm feeling alone. And then they get to this place where they say, okay, God, so I trust you, I love you, please show up. Show up in my life. I trust in your care, and you will come. And then they get angry again. That part that's a little difficult to listen to, they just get angry. They start thinking about it again, and they just say, you know what? Just bring your wrath. Just get rid of these awful people who are doing these awful things. I just can't stand it anymore. Just get rid of them. Just get rid of them. I know you've had that thought. I have sometimes. And that's okay. God takes that anger, and sometimes, that anger can just build up in you. If you don't let it out, you're going to explode. And so, okay, let it off on God. He lets it off on God. Just let him have it, God, for my sake, because, I'm struggling here. And then it's almost like after he lets it all out, he lets the poison out of his body, lets the anger out, he has this moment of clarity and says, okay, but my song is going to be your name. And I know that you're a faithful God who endures forever, that you listen to the poor, you're there for the oppressed. Okay, I can live one more day. I can live one more day. And I'm going to trust and hope that you are the God that I can really hold on to. And I'm going to keep on going. Right? You feel all the emotions of life caught up in this prayer. And so I was just starting to think, where am I at with something like that? Is there anything that I'm just kind of like, really, God? Are we still here in this place after all these many years? And there's a lot of them, right? We're still dealing with racism in this country and around the world. I still go places where I feel like it's my brown skin that matters more than anything else, or perhaps my last name. And then all of a sudden I start to speak and they're like, oh, but he speaks perfect English. But then they learn, he was born in Puerto Rico. Shoot, now what box do I put him in? And he's a Lutheran? Oh man, now what do I do with this? And then the Scandinavians learned that I won a lutefisk eating contest, so they think, man, all my boxes are torn up. But it's a real issue that we have, right? That you can look at somebody and just think, you're not like me. I had this experience over and over again of being asked, where are you from? Where are you from? And I started to learn that what people were asking was not, where are you from? They're asking, why are you brown? That was the real question people were asking. And I remember clearly as day, I had gone to visit a friend's family and went to worship with them in the morning. It was in a small town in South Dakota. And I could feel the eyes on me as I went to take communion. And afterwards, there's that social time. We're eating and having coffee. And I had one lady come up to me and she said, so, where are you from? I'm like, I'm just visiting from Luther College. And she said, where are you really from? And I said, okay. Well, grew up mostly in the Chicago area. And she said, inner city Chicago. I said, no, from the burbs. And she said, where are you really from? I said, okay. And so finally I thought, she doesn't really care where I'm from. She just wants to figure out, how come you're brown? And so I told her I was born in Puerto Rico. She said, that's where you're from. And, there's a little piece of that hurts, right? It says, I don't really care about your story. I just really want to know about your skin color. That's all I care about. And then I had a really bad experience. That same little church. I've never forgotten it. I sat down at a table, and I was, my friend was sitting here. There was an open chair, and I was sitting here. We were eating. He came down. He sat down between us and said, hi. And I said, hello. And my friend introduced me. He said, this is Felix. He's visiting with you. He said, okay. And then he just turned his back and spoke to her. Completely just blocked me out of that conversation and just turned his back on me. I said, wow. I was having one of those, really, God? Just get rid of him right now. But I took a deep breath and I just walked away. And, that isn't a singular experience, right? people are living with that type of rejection, that type of feeling ostracized. And that was a pretty benign one, you know. I've been pulled over on the side of the road, and before I got asked anything about, like, do you know how fast you were going or anything else, there's like, what are you running from? Where am I running from? I'm just driving home. I'm not running from anything. I'm just going home. But, right, you're brown. You must be running from something. And there are many people living with that in the world. And it's something that we in the church need to shout at God a little bit louder and say, really, God, how are we still dealing with this? How are we still dealing with this? And we're trying. We're making strides. And you know the other one that's really bugging me right now, really more so than racism even, because, right, I mean, racism we can deal with. We've been going through this for a long time. But the one that really has me scared right now is climate change, because that's going to kill us all. So that's simple. Right? If there's nothing else, that we're literally going to drown, right? This isn't even metaphorical anymore. The waters are literally rising. There are entire countries that might end up underwater. There are little island countries that will cease to exist, and there are people who live along coastlines all over the world who are the poorest of the poor, who have no recourses to deal with this issue, and they're the ones who are going to literally perish. They're going to end up drowning because of our sin. Right? And I'm going to include me in that, because those of us who live in the United States, those of us who live in wealthy societies, we've created the issue. We've created the issue, and the ones who are going to pay for it are the least of the least. The ones who have not brought it onto the world, but the ones who are dealing with the ramifications. The ones who are living in areas that are less desirable, the ones who are living too close to the water that it's dangerous, and the ones who are living where the water is no more, so they're dying of thirst and hunger. How is this reality, God? How are we living in the world where people can just walk around with blinders over their eyes and not see the devastation that we're doing to this world? How can we keep on just living as if the world is going to be fine when it's really not? And sometimes I shout in my head, God, just get rid of them. How can people keep denying this issue that is literally going to cause an end to life as we know it? I really hope that we can get past our racism, past whatever is holding you between you and your brother next to you, because we got to do something now. And this isn't a new issue, right? We've known since the 60s what this was doing. And it was just easier to kick the can down the road a little bit, and then kick the can a little bit more. But even all the way back in 1993, the ELCA made a formal declaration that, yes, climate change is real, and two, caused by mankind. Since 1993, the ELCA has had an official document that says that. And yet, you still have people who say, yeah, I'm not so sure. Really, God? Where are you in this? Come, give us some light, give us some wisdom, help us so that we can make these waters dissipate, so that we can come up for breath, and so that Javi can have a world to live in. It's going to be 2050 when he's an adult, right? 2050. And they're saying that 2050 right now, if we don't do anything, is the date when the world is just going to be completely unsustainable. We have to do something right now in order for him to be able to bring up a next generation. Oh, that has really made it real for me. When I look at the world around me and I think, if I don't do anything, he can't have a child. We need to do something now. And we need to start shouting and raging at God and say, God, please do something. And then take that breath and say, okay, God, but I trust you. I'm going to sing your song. And your song is that I'm a child of you. And you created me to be a steward of this earth. You created me to be a co-creator with you. You created me to tend to this garden, this beautiful garden you have placed in our hands. And that's the song that I need to sing, that as a child of God, I need to take care of what God has first given us. And that's the song we sing. And why? because God can look at all the terrible things that we've done and say, I forgive you. And so we don't have to live with that guilt, because it's a pretty big mountain of guilt that we could hold above our heads. And we can say, thank you, God, for removing that guilt. We know what we've done wrong. Now we're going to live as your children. We're going to take care of this home that you have given us. We're going to take care of this beautiful space so that the next generation can enjoy it too. I just got back from Devil's Lake, and man, is that gorgeous. It's a beautiful space. It's easy to see God's hand at work there. And if we want next generation to be able to see that beauty, to walk in that beauty, to feel God's presence, which Devil's Lake is a bad name, right? You know that? It's actually a mistranslation of the original name, which was the Spirit Lake. It meant the lake of God. It meant the holy lake. And the people who came, the colonizers who were racist, saw those brown people, other people who were worshiping at this place, and then said, oh, they're calling it Holy Lake. They don't worship our God. They're definitely worshiping the devil. It's Devil's Lake. To bring it all the way back around, huh? This is a place of God. A place of God, and we need to take care of it. So let's get our heads up above this water. We're starting to do our side of the work here, but we have a lot more work to do. We need to get courage. We need to get strength. We need to get out into the world and say, we need to live as people of God in this world. We need to lift up our heads from our belly buttons, stop paying attention to just what's good for me, and pay attention to what's good for my neighbor. What's good for this earth, what's good for this world, because that little thing called racism is a part of that too, because those people who are in trouble, those people who are oppressed, tend to be brown or black. And it's easy to say, let the waters swallow them up. They're not my people. And so we need to do some hard work, folks. And it starts here. We make a commitment amongst ourselves, and then we go out into our neighborhoods. We go out to our neighbors and say, you know what, we care for this world, and we're going to do what we can to make this world more like God's dream, a place where we actually open up our eyes and care for the creation God made and care for one another. Why? Because of the love that we have first been shown here on the cross, because Christ gave his life for us so that we could demonstrate that kind of love for each other. So, as we go out from here, be honest with yourself about whatever it is that is holding you back in life. Lift up your head. Look at the world with love. Look at your neighbor with love. Look at this creation with love. And let's get out of this vicious cycle so that we can sing God's praises. Sing God's praises. And so that there might be life and love and justice for the generations to come. Amen.